I've been posting on Shorts, and maybe leave a like or a comment on this video if you want to see like a long form about Peak Slab Phone, which is of course the moving goalpost. See, I called Oppo Find N6 Peak Foldable a couple weeks ago because it just feels like we finally reached the watermark of just being a great phone that happens to fold in half. They'd one by one engineered away all of the downsides of a foldable, from the front bezels to the cameras to the crease, to get to that point, and that's really exciting. Peak Slab Phone, though, a little harder to define. Like, there's obviously going to be a better slab phone in a year. There's so many things that make a great smartphone. As far as special watermarks that we're trying to achieve, achieved basically all of them except for one. We're not going to achieve that last one. So hear me out. If you've been following smartphones like me for the past decade plus, you've seen lots of trends come and go, and then some of them stick around. So curved screens, they just came and went. Pop-up cameras, they came and went too. Ultra-wide cameras, though, those stuck around. And so now, as boring as it is, we've kind of settled on this final form of a default, high-end, maxed-out flagship smartphone. Easiest way to see it is to just look at my 5 pillars of a great smartphone. I've always said if one phone can have great display, great battery, great build, great performance, and great cameras, like if you can ace all 5 of those things, then you have a great phone. Now, each of these things, is exciting at different times as we get different innovations, and they're all changing at different rates. But for the past 20 years, all of these categories have felt like they're chasing something that like drives everything to get better. So display, right? Let's just take that as the first example. Everyone for the entire history of smartphones has just wanted a screen on the phone that just looks good all the time. The watermark. And so over the years of smartphone screens, they've gotten bigger and bigger. They've gotten thinner bezels. They tried curved edges for a while, but it turns out that wasn't it. And now we've essentially settled on a large, flat, bright OLED. High refresh rate, high resolution, fingerprint reader underneath, and a hole punch up at the top for a selfie camera. They look good outside in the sun now because they get insanely bright, and they also look good in the dark because they all get all the way down to 1 nit and have high-frequency PWM dimming. So we still get peak brightness numbers and contrast ratios, and occasionally special features like the privacy display in the bleeding edge phones, but for the most part now, in flagships, have great displays. Box checked. Watermark achieved. So then what about battery? Okay, everybody wants a great battery in their smartphone. What does that mean? I want my phone to last all day, no matter what. That's a great battery. Now, when we first got 4G phones, I remember my HTC Thunderbolt didn't even last till the end of the school day. They were terrible batteries. But phones have gotten more efficient and batteries have gotten bigger and more dense. So there was like a 3,000 milliamp hour barrier that all these flagships hit, and then 3,500, and it just kept getting better and better. The average screen on time for a good phone before it died went from 2 hours to 3 to 4. And then 5. Anybody spending 5 hours on their phone in a single day to kill it? Getting a bit ridiculous, but you could still do it, I guess. But then silicon carbon batteries came along, like in the last 2 years. And so in a few short months, the normal flagship battery size went from 5,000 milliamp hours to 6,000, and even higher than that. The X9 Ultra here has a 7,050 milliamp hour battery. So now these phones are they're just too good to die in a single day. Regular use, they're going to work no matter what. I gave my battery award last year to a phone that could get me 7 to 8 hours of screen on time every single day. Most of the time, that's actually a 2-day phone. Like I'll end a normal day with 60% left, and then I just don't even charge it overnight. But then if you do actually kill it in a day with some insane day, then they'll have like 100-watt wired charging or 50-watt wireless charging like this with the right accessories. Basically, we got there. These phones have incredible batteries, kind of no matter what. Box checked. Watermark reached. Now, great performance is maybe a little more subjective since that includes the software, and people have different preferences there, but generally, if you have a high-end chip, smooth animations, and a responsive display, keep that thing updated for a long time, and most people are gonna feel pretty good about it. The improvements we get year over year these days are like in the highest end that you might notice in like graphically intensive games or benchmark scores, basically. So, performance is definitely box checked. And then great build quality is just, it's all there now. Metal rails, square, like a tank, slightly improved glass every year, that's still glass, and then IP69 dust and water resistance. As long as the design isn't ugly, we're all good here. So then there's great cameras. And this is the one where we get kind of stuck a little bit, because, okay, we want great cameras. What does that mean exactly? You've probably noticed every smartphone presentation now is more camera than ever. It used to be like 1 or 2 slides. Now a new phone is like 20 slides about just camera stuff. I actually just did this little experiment that I've been posting on Shorts, and maybe leave a like or comment on this video if you want to see like a long form breakdown of it all. But we took a picture on every generation of the same phone and put them back to back to see the differences. And they were fascinating. I did iPhones. I did also every Samsung phone. I did every Google phone. We did daylight, low light, backlit. But the one thing that struck me as I was sitting there, getting my picture taken by 17 phones in a row, and I'm looking at these phones, I couldn't help but notice how massive these cameras got over the years. It went from a literal pinhole webcam on the back to this huge plateau multi-camera system just dominating the back of the phone. I think the camera watermark people want to use now in 2026 is that a smartphone camera system is as good as a regular camera. If we can achieve that, then we can say it's a great camera. Unfortunately, this is a battle against physics that can never fully be won, as much as these are doing a hell of a job at getting close. Like this X9 Ultra is the most ridiculous camera system I've ever seen. And next year, sure, there's probably going to be an even more ridiculous one. But let's look at this. The whole phone is built around this camera system. From the design, like the faux leather on the back, the orange accent, the Hasselblad and Oppo text being sideways, to the specs themselves. It's 5 camera sensors back here, and each one of them is either the best or among the best numbers on paper I've ever seen. 200 megapixel main camera with the biggest 200 megapixel sensor we've ever seen in a phone, with a wide aperture and OIS, then a 200 megapixel 3x telephoto camera, literally the biggest telephoto sensor we've ever seen in a phone, bigger than a lot of phones' main cameras. There's also a second zoom, there's a 50 megapixel 10x camera with sensor shift stabilization, and there's a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and a dedicated color sensor that they're calling this true color camera to help get the most accurate white balance in photos and videos. And a shocker to absolutely no one, this is a great camera system. Oppo's X9 Pro already won my smartphone camera of the year last year. This is the ultra version of that phone. So it's got a lot of the same tasteful, relatively minimal processing with just better hardware. And so that's just a treat. There's still plenty of processing going on, and it takes a while. You can actually snap a shot and then wait 2 to 3 seconds to see it finalize everything. And it can get a bit HDR-y sometimes, but for the most part, any shot you can imagine, any shot you're thinking of getting, you can probably get it, and it'll come out really good. There's just so much versatility with these focal lengths too. But there is a difference there. There's a difference between super versatile and as good quality as a regular camera. Those are 2 different things. The irony with this, Oppo is they clearly want you to think of this as like a Hasselblad camera. The licensing, and they use the same accent colors, and it's got the knurling around the camera ring. And this is based on the Hasselblad X2D Mark II. They say it on their website. I actually own the Hasselblad X2D Mark II. These are like opposite cameras. They could not be further apart. The whole point of an incredible smartphone camera system is to be the most capable, versatile, convenient camera possible, no matter where you are, no matter what situation you're in. This computer is going to try its absolute hardest to not let you take a bad picture or video. That's why it's called computational photography. The X2D Mark II is a professional, very deliberate camera that doesn't have computational photography. It doesn't even have a video mode. So I think it's actually kind of a mistake to compare these two. The smartphone will never, I'll just say it, will never actually replace a high-end professional camera at what it does. It's just physics. These sensors get bigger and better every year, but so do these. I actually think that's true about everything, probably over like an RX100 type of camera. But I think what we're settling on is that a truly great smartphone camera is obviously really good quality, but it's one that minimizes the misses and maximizes the makes. Like, it's like that self-moving basketball hoop that Stuff Made Here, a YouTuber, made a couple years ago, where no matter what your skill level, no matter how bad any of your shots are, you can always end up with a make. You just can't miss. And if you don't know better, you might even think that that's your skill. Wow, every shot looks so great. I'm killing it. That's what computational photography is trying to do. A lot of us, enthusiasts don't love that look. So if you can do that without the overprocessed look, then that would be great. So anyway, the updated watermark, I think, that we're chasing, that a great smartphone camera can take a really good photo or video. That's what we're chasing. Now, that's not to say have a little fun, because not only does this and phones like it try to defy physics with things like portrait mode to simulate a larger sensor, and even the Hasselblad modes with lens emulation to mimic the bokeh of these bigger, better lenses, but they're also making literal lens attachment accessories to unlock even more incredible capability. This and also the Vivo X300 Pro are at the forefront of that with these attachments that are honestly kind of insane. Like Oppo has it with Hasselblad, Vivo is doing it with Zeiss. This phone has a whole specialized case and lens attachment and battery grip with a 2-stage shutter button. It's truly hilarious that you can carry all this stuff around and actually take some pretty incredible 400mm zoom photos that you can technically say you shot on your smartphone. But at the end of the day, as good and as fun as this is, it's really impressive. It's still mimicking the real thing, as good as it's gotten. So the strength is definitely still in its versatility. Like, it really reminds me of all the parallels of when someone tries to turn their iPad into a laptop. You can kind of do it, kind of. Like, the software is still not exactly desktop software, but you can multi-window mostly the same way. And the web browser is mostly desktop class. And there's a file manager now, so that's nice. And if you ignore the kind of wobbly weight distribution, kind of a laptop, it's cool that it's gotten that good, but nobody sane would say that it's a one-to-one replacement for a high-end pro-level laptop. For regular use stuff that most people are doing, YouTube video watching, social media, web browsing, word processing, basic stuff, even some light photo editing and video editing, it is actually as good as anyone will need. That's the smartphone camera. Professional cameras, of course, will always have their place. That's what I keep shooting these videos with. That's what us hobbyists and professionals love. But I will also keep shooting the autofocus channel exclusively on smartphones. That's also really fun, and it demonstrates the capabilities and how good that these keep getting over the years. The latest episode was actually shot on this X9 Ultra, so if you want to see what the footage from this phone looks like, I'll link it below the like button. It is so good. Thanks for watching, and I'm very curious to see your comments below what you think of peak slab phone in 2026. Catch you in the next one. Peace.